So basically, what we are here to do in this chapter is to not only explain how we as sociologists think about these issues, but also how we can use sociological theories and knowledge to address these issues. So that's what we're here to do. And there are two main topics or two main concepts that you'll be seeing pop up throughout the series. And we'll be talking about them right now.
Yeah, so the first one I want to talk about is the sociological imagination by the theorist Mills. And basically, the sociological imagination is the understanding that our personal outrage and the circumstances that we are dealing with are related to a bigger social structure. So basically, if you were dealing with personal problems, for example, like racism, then it's because of a larger structural problem of a societal structure. And this can be frustrating to think that, like, oh, what I'm dealing with I can't get over personally, but also it can be rewarding the fact that if you know what you're dealing with is due to a larger structure and that other people are facing it, that means this is your time to create a coalition and to talk with other people that are dealing with it and organizing, because you recognize that many people are going through the same thing because we all exist under the same structure.
Yes. And that's like the first thing that we learn in sociology. We've heard it a lot. But actually, this is very important right now because going back to certain laws that have been put in place to control what's being taught in classrooms, all of that is focusing a lot on individuals. So like how the individuals feel, or blaming almost the individual for systemic issues. And that's not what we do in sociology. Just to clarify, like we are not blaming someone for the entirety of a world history and a whole like white supremacist system, like, or patriarchal system, etc. Like that's not what we're doing. And that's why the sociological imagination is so important, because we need to understand that it's not about what you do. Like you can be the best person, you can be the least prejudiced, least bigoted, most accepting and inclusive person. And your individual behavior won't change the social structure necessarily. Also, even though you're not to blame, like we're not blaming individuals for any systemic issue, we do need to understand that we, all of us, every single one of us as individuals, we are a product of a social structure. So that means me and Halley, like you and me, we are different identities. You know, I'm a woman of color. You're a Jewish white woman. And we have different intersecting identities that make our perspective be different. But still, we both are still within a system that is white supremacist, patriarchal, capitalist, etc., that has conditioned us to think in certain ways and act in certain ways. So it's not like I'm better than you or you are better than me for whatever behavior you show. We're all being influenced by a social structure, and it's up to us to understand that and how that relationship works to address these issues, if that makes sense.
And we talk about this also in critical race theory, that there's a difference between like not being racist and being anti-racist. So like one of them is that like you personally are not acting prejudiced towards people of color, but being anti-racist means you're also against structures and you are working against the racist structures that exist in society. And so you can be one thing and not the other. You can be both of them, but you have to make sure you understand that there's a difference between them.
Yes, absolutely. So moving on to the second topic, and that is intersectionality and the matrix of domination. So both of those go together, and we have heard all about that before, intersectionality specifically, but the way that we are understanding it, intersectionality is a tool. It's a perspective to see society and social issues as a result of an overlap of oppressive systems like the ones that we mentioned. So sexism, racism, heterosexism, all of that. And in the mainstream, we hear about intersecting identities and how our intersecting identities makes us different, and that's what intersectionality is. But really, it's deeper than that. It's beyond just those intersecting identities. It's about understanding the overlapping systems of oppression, and that's what we will focus on mostly. The overlapping systems of oppression, which Patricia Hill Collins calls matrix of domination. Yeah.
Yeah. And these theories are helpful to us as sociologists and hopefully to you, because it feels like it kind of gives us power back to address the issues that are going on. And so, because of these two theories, we see what's going on in society and the things that are frustrating us, and we put it through these lenses. And what comes out the other side is maybe frustration, but also like a want to push forward, and we see how we can push forward as well. So that's why it's really helpful for us.
Yes. And so that's why we're here. That's basically what this chapter 2 is about. So I know we've kind of gone through a lot in the last, I don't know, 30 minutes. But so for the last few minutes, we want to talk about just a bit more about the podcast and what we hope this will do regarding these issues that we just talked about. So mainly, we just want to make, one of the things that we want to do is to, again, this podcast is supposed to give sociological knowledge to people and make it accessible, and not like what we read in class, which is not accessible at all. So so that's the first thing that we want to do with this chapter.
Mm-hmm. We also wanted to bring more of just like the emotions into it, like just let you guys see like the real parts of what's going on behind the scenes, because as much as we like don't want emotion, we want like objectivity, and whether that actually works or whatever is another discussion. But like also there's like people behind these issues, and we want to make sure that when we're discussing this, we recognize there's structure, but also individual lives. And that means that there's also emotions behind it. And we want to connect with you guys on that level and be more real, so that it can be more relatable, understandable. There's more of a connection going on rather than just stating a bunch of theories and then being like, shoo, shoo, now you know. Like, we want to make sure you understand that the all-encompassing emotions of being aware of social issues and trying to do something about it.
Yeah, and that is why we're here venting today. Like, we just want, it does feel like it's, the weight is on us, the people that are engaged in these conversations, that we are innately interested in these things. Not everyone can be interested in the same thing. But we are, and sometimes it feels like, oh, because we are the political ones, we're the ones that are involved in this, all the pressure is on us, and everyone expects us to have answers, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, we can be the ones to become experts in the issues that people don't want to like get too deep into. Like, we can do that, but also we do need to be collective in the way that we're addressing these issues. Like, we need to go beyond just academics giving us the answers or politicians giving us the answers. Like, that's and again, that's why we're here. Like, we're here to express these emotions that we feel as academics. We're not just brains. We feel the pressure, and we hope that if we provide these tools for an audience that's not part of the university, we can hopefully help create that community that we need as academics beyond academia.
Also, if you are listening to this and you also feel this burden of trying to solve these issues also, and you're becoming overwhelmed with these issues, just know like you're not alone in this, and that there are many other people who want to work alongside you, and that you are not going to be the one solution, and you're not expected to be the one solution, and you don't have to do this by yourself.
The hero.
Right.
There's no heroes here.
Right. We are going to hopefully work together as a community to make things better. So don't feel like the weight lies on your shoulders too.